You know, Honorable, some people will ask, what purpose is this going to serve now? Because it would look like we've moved some distance away from where we were in 1999, where we were in 2007. And right now it would seem that largely power is now largely in the hands of private owners, apart from the transmission company of Nigeria. What exactly do you think this probe will serve?
Well, but let me ask you, how do you feel every night or every day you come back from work and you switch on your light and there's no electricity? What do you say? For a Nigerian that you have committed to. This probe, I expect, is, to me, I will look at it as a fact finding, where, you know, people should speak out, say the truth, and let Nigerians know what has happened, and also guide government further in their drive to change the system. Now, their recommendation should not be restricted to only those probably they are chasing or perceived to be chasing, because some people are insinuating that 1999 to 2007 may not actually be where they are looking at, that they are looking at 2007 to 2015, where Yar'Adua and Goodluck Ebele Jonathan took office. And for those who are also saying that the former president is hobnobbing with the current president, they might also look at it that maybe Senate is just playing to the gallery. And at the end of the day, what they're actually looking at is Goodluck's government. I feel that they should be blunt. I feel that they should be decisive. I feel that they should be open, transparent, and they shouldn't. And I also want to advise that they should stay clearly from those contractors, because if they don't, they will end up like every other committee that had been tagged to have been bribed.
Do you think that a statement of purpose from the committee would help a great deal? Because if this is to recover monies that were wrongfully allocated or were said to be appropriated but not spent properly or embezzled, don't you think it should be clear from the outset? Because these discos and generating companies have been sold.
Well, you see, whether they are sold, first of all, as far as I'm concerned, I said, you don't sell a house that is in shambles. As at the time that those houses were sold, what was the value? Why didn't you put it right before you sell, so that you can have value for what you're selling? And in also finding out what was sold, who did they sell to? Who bought what? Was it just an in-house arrangement where people sold to themselves? These are things that the probe should come out with.
But some people will say it's rather
to find out those who bought.
Honorable.
It's not just talking about how much. It's not just talking about how far, but it's also about getting facts.
Honorable, some people will say that these are three different things. If you want to look at the oops, oh dear Lord. Oh well, we hope to get him back very soon. Is he back on now?
Not yet, but they'll just go ahead and
the Senate definitely does have a lot on its plate, and I think that, you know, it will help a great deal if we start from the beginning with some clarity in terms of what exactly the purpose that this probe is meant to serve. I want to believe that when Honorable and the members of his committee sat, they had the purpose, they had the reason why they were sitting, and whether or not that it was achieved at the end of the day, perhaps their report might say. We understand the circumstances under which a particular committee ended. But if you have a very complex, because 16 years is a long time to probe.
And a lot has changed.
A lot has changed since then. So perhaps to minimize the complexities, is it back?
Yes. Okay.
Honorable, can you hear us?
Yeah, I can hear you very well.
Oh, great.
Well, let me correct an impression. When Obasanjo came into power, he decided to probe IBB's government. And that was when Okuta panel came on board. So you don't just talk about whether it's time, whether it's long or not. Professor Noli said that you cannot isolate the past from the future.
You know,
Honorable, sorry, Sulaiman.
You know, I'm happy. A while ago, we were asking if there is a report from your panel, and you did say there is a report. And Nigerians would love to know what exactly were the content of that particular report. Was anyone indicted? Because I recall in 2007, at that point in time, the speaker, the major bank, did say we had spent about $16 billion. And just after that, in January of 2008, your own committee was constituted, and that was when you went round. You truly went round. People saw you, and they thought that we should be talking about that report. Now we are looking to see something like similar, which some would call deja vu. Were there indictments? Were names mentioned? What was it that you found out that we still haven't been able to go back in your report?
Well, yeah, for instance, then we were talking about due process. Let me take you that one as a simple analogy. We found out that due process was waived, and money were collected from the SS crude without accounting for them. The then Hassan Tuko, who was the chairman of SS Revenue Mobilization, came up and they gave us a report. We have the Auditor General's report, who gave us full analysis of how there was recklessness in the system. And we had individuals who played major roles in all this impunity that took place. And we also had consultants who ab initio would have reported what happened, but failed to do that because maybe they were compromised. I also had contractors who went on site, took mobilization, and never went back, maybe because of their closeness to the power that be at that point. And these were things that we found out. Now, ours as a committee, by virtue of the Constitution, does not allow us to take a decision, but recommend to the floor, to the House at plenary for them to take decision on what should be done. So all these things.
I recall again. Sorry, I recall, if my history is right here, that your recommendation was directed to the Ethics Committee at that point in time to do a proper investigation on that. No. I think you are missing it all. What happened was, there were some mafia group who wanted to kill the report at all costs. And somebody came up in no unknown face and said, oh, when we went to Port Harcourt, when we visited the Roxin site, that at the airport, they brought 120 million and gave as a bribe to all the members. And again, the same Ndume came up with a magazine, I think it's Newsweek, or I can't remember now, and said that they have needed to look into it. And that was why they stood down our submitting of the report at plenary. And they had ethics now went into the investigation and found out that the allegation was false. It was just people who were just out of fright that we may have, indicted them in our recommendation, wanting to see that the report does not see the light of the day. And that was how, that was the aspect of the ethics and privileges. Would you love to see a revisit of that report?
For me, what will give me most joy is because of what let me ask you. You award a contract for since 2007, and those projects are just being completed in 2015 for projects that were meant to be for just 2 years, 24 months, some 18 months. What do you say to that? And in the approval, I had to go to CBN. We went to foreign accounts, and we found out what they were doing with the money that they were paid into their accounts. In fact, let me give you an instance. There's one they call Marubeni. He claimed to be Marubeni of Malaysia. I went to Malaysia. I found out he has nothing to do with Marubeni, Malaysia. It was false.
But Honorable, let me jump in. Can you, on your own, make that report public?
Yeah, of course. At the appropriate time, yes. Why not?
When is the appropriate time, if not now?
You are just asking me as a Nigerian. No problem.
Because you seem to have an idea of what the problem is. A while ago, you asked Mark, how would she feel like going back home, putting on the switch, and nothing comes up? If you truly
she won't feel good.
If you truly care for this sector and for the nation, to the extent that you have done an extensive work with your team at that point in time, and there was also the talk about, as you put it, some masquerade somewhere trying to see that that doesn't come to light. What stops you from doing that now?
Yeah, in Nigeria, you have to be careful before people think that there's something personal about what you're doing, in as much as you have the passion for change to come. I had sent word to the committee in Senate saying that I'm available if they want me to give them an insight. As a matter of fact, they have a lot to gain from me giving them an insight as to what happened, and that will lessen their job. Because even during the probe, my house was attacked. My house was, the gazebo behind my house was, they set fire on it. I had to take my family out of the country because people tried to give me some form of compromise my belief, and I refused. I know names of people in Nigeria. Some met me in the aircraft and they were abusing me, telling me, "Oh, are you not in Nigeria? Why do you want to do something because you want to get credit?" Some spoke to my senior brother, asked him to warn me that I'm getting into where I shouldn't be. Some went to my governor, and it was publicized in the newspapers where they said I was stepping on toes. And the governor then, or Hakim, had to respond to them that I was on rescue mission, not stepping on toes. So you have to be careful before you are being branded. And that was also, I mean, out of desperation. They had to allege that I stole 5.3 billion naira